Atomic Heart is a first-person action RPG set in a world of killer robots. The game isn't the best at explaining some of its mechanics, so I've put together a list of tips that I would have loved to have early on. Here are 9 things I wish I knew when I started playing Atomic Heart. In the early hours of Atomic Heart, the game walks you through the purchase of Shok, an elemental upgrade for your sentient polymer glove, Char-Les. This tutorial, as well as my experience with similar games, led me to believe that this was the only elemental upgrade available to me that early on. In fact, Char-Les even says,
"More skills will become available to you soon."
But this is not 100% the truth, as all of the glove upgrades are available right away. You just need enough materials for them. Atomic Heart does not tell you this, but if you head back into the Nora machine following the free tutorial upgrades, you'll see that you have around 30 neuropolymer that can be used. This is just enough to afford the polymetric shield by itself, or Frostbite and the polymetric jet together. The latter will set you up with 3 elemental powers right out the gate, giving you an early advantage against your foes. The best part is that you're not locked into your decision here. You can return abilities at any point in the game at a Nora for 100% refund of resources. So if you'd rather try out the shield ability first, you can do so, and still try out the other 2 abilities later, and vice versa. The game eventually gives you this information, but it's great to know sooner so you can start tinkering with your playstyle in the opening hours. This awesome refund feature also works when dismantling weapons and consumables, but you won't need to worry about the weapons part just yet. This is because unlike the glove upgrades, all the weapons are not available from the start and need to be unlocked using found blueprints. We'll talk a little more about weapons later in the video, but for now, let's keep discussing neuropolymer and glove upgrades. A great way to get those upgrades as soon as possible is to make sure you scan the environment after a fight, so that you don't miss out on any loot from fallen enemies. Throughout the game's different combat encounters, you'll be forced to move around a lot in order to avoid getting hit. Sometimes it can be easy to forget about the bot you defeated towards the beginning of an enemy wave, across the room, or down the long hallway from where you're currently standing. Scanning helps you find the parts you couldn't loot in the heat of battle, so that you're always getting the most out of each fight. Anything highlighted in blue has resources left to scavenge. If nothing in the vicinity is highlighted, you've successfully looted everything you can. But scanning isn't just useful for dead enemies or cabinet-filled rooms. You can also make use of this feature during combat. I didn't use this a whole lot during my playthrough, as enemies are fast and have a tendency to get up close and personal, but keep in mind, you can scan enemies to reveal what they are weak and resistant to. I found this to be most helpful in situations in which I was facing a tougher enemy. All you have to do is wait for the right opening. Otherwise, you'll be dodging out of the way before the scan is even complete. Luckily, the dodge can still be triggered during a scan. In fact, dodging is still available during a few other actions and character animations as well. My favorites are dodging while healing and while charging a heavy attack. As you progress in Atomic Heart, you will have the option to upgrading to one-handed healing. But until you have that, you'll be stuck with no way to attack as you use both hands to recover your health. Dodging away from lasers, punches, blades, and more without canceling the heal animation is a major plus for the game, and can make a huge difference when you only have a sliver of health left. A similar thing can be said for charging heavy attacks. Further into the game, you can decrease the time needed to charge an attack, but until then you can take comfort in knowing that your charge won't go away if you keep holding the button while dodging to safety. Depending on your difficulty and if you're following the tips I've listed so far in this video, Atomic Heart's combat encounters can be a little overwhelming. Aside from the telekinesis upgrade, I felt like I didn't have many ways to effectively control a crowd. That is, until I unlocked and installed the EMP Generator for the Electro. This attachment is most effective against mechanical enemies, but can still have an effect on biological ones as well. The EMP Generator is located in a break room close to the algae workshop. There is a chest on the right side of the room across from the Nora machine, so you won't have to do any major hunting for it. If you're constantly dipping into the these rooms in order to manually save or upgrade your gear, then there's a very small chance that you'll miss out on this attachment. You may already have it unlocked and didn't even notice. Once you have the EMP generator or any other of the blueprints you want, you'll probably be starving for certain resources in order to make that weapon a reality. However, finding those resources can be a little easier if you know where to look. Luckily, Atomic Heart gives you that information right on the crafting screen. All you have to do is hover over the required resource and select it. You will then be taken to a new screen that shows you which enemies drop a certain material and how frequently they do so. Similar to my tip from earlier in the video, you can also take advantage of the dismantle feature in order to get materials that you need for crafting what you want. This is just one of the reasons you're going to want to pay attention to your Nora storage and check it often. There are plenty of times throughout my playthrough in which I didn't realize I had tons of health capsules, ammo, and more in the Nora storage that could have been being used to prevent me from getting my teeth kicked in. Because of this area's tendency to get overstocked, it can be a great place to comb through when you need materials. I did this a lot early on with Fat Boy ammo. I knew I didn't have the blueprint for this weapon and wasn't planning on crafting it anytime soon, so I always dismantled the rockets in order to get what I needed at that moment. This final tip may seem very obvious, but it took me longer than I'd like to admit to figure it out. You can switch weapons using the left and right buttons on the D-pad of your controller. I've been so accustomed to using the triangle button on PlayStation controllers to switch my gun in FPS games that I frustratingly fired off my Shok ability tons of times by accident. Sick of always using the radial menu to change my weapons, I finally pressed enough buttons to randomly figure out that the swap is mapped to the D-pad. It doesn't feel great to use, and I still wish there was button remapping built into the console version, but it's better than nothing, I guess. Those are all 9 of the things I wish I knew when I started my playthrough of Atomic Heart. Hit the comment section and let me know some of the things you wish you knew that I may not have covered in this video so that we can continue to help each other out. If you haven't already, make sure you watch our review of Atomic Heart, like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to GameSpot for more.